Hi, everybody. I have missed you. It's been a month since I've been here on live. Well, been in the studio, watching it out on Facebook. I've missed all your comments, and I would say smiling faces. I know you're smiling out there, even though I can't truly see you, but I missed all your smiling faces. So here we are today. Look at what we've got going. We've got, let's see. It's been a while since I've been up here, so I feel all flummoxed. We have in the studio today, we have Leanne, we have Parker, and we have Marisa, so give them a big shout out today. And then we have Caledonia on Facebook and Susie on YouTube. Hi, Callie and Susie. So today we're talking about weddings. And this gorgeous window is going to be my arch. And so we're going to pretend this is a gorgeous arch in front of all that the bride and groom are going to stand in front of. And then I'm going to make a bridal bouquet and have some fun, wedding fun today. All right, I'm going to move this aside. So how was your Valentine's? We had snow and ice here, but we made it work. I worked all last week doing Valentine's arrangements with teacher Jerry with Bella Bloom Florals, and it worked, thank goodness. Many shops had to close down. How about you? How has everybody had, with the snow and ice in Texas, in the South, and all over the country? It's been pretty crazy weather. I hope you're all doing well. Don't forget to put your tulips in. When you say hello, put your tulips in so we know you're part of the tribe. So let's get started. All right, so I'm going to do a corner piece today. And because we have a little bit smaller arch, I'm going to use these smaller floral cages. If this was a large arch, I might use what's called a tribute cage, which is about the size of a single brick of foam, and then attach it here. We also have this jumbo cage. Can you imagine the arch piece that you could create in this beauty? And of course, you could go totally foam free by using floral netting, aka chicken wire. And then you would just wrap this around like so and zip tie it on. But today we're going to use foam.
Carolyn, which one do you like working best with?
Foam or chicken wire?
Yeah.
To be honest, I prefer foam.
Oh, I would have thought different.
The reason why I like foam is it's a water source. I don't have to worry about water tubing my flowers, especially when you're in the summer months, which most of wedding season does take place in the spring and summer. And, this travels well. I could do some in the studio, or I can do it totally on site. Either way. But yeah, my preference is foam.
You do a lot of summer weddings,
Mm-hmm.
and that water source is probably a big deal.
The water source is super important. So how I'm going to attach this with zip ties. Have zip ties in your tool bag. So I'm just going to run a couple of these together and find smooth side is usually up, and I need my glasses because I can't see. All right, smooth side up on both sides. Oop, that didn't work. There we go, get those connected. So I'm going to make this a corner, and what I want to do is attach these. Let me come around so you can see. I'm going to attach them like this. I'm not going to attach them, super close together. I want them to come apart. That way I can make the corner with my foliage and my flowers. You know what I did not do? I didn't soak these beforehand.
Let me get you water. That could be a demo of how to soak foam.
Well,
Silly me.
still recovering from the Valentine's Day weekend.
I know, it was so difficult. How is it? Has anybody chimed in on how they did?
Carolyn, so Vega out there in Iceland, her Valentine's Day was really good, but she says Sunday will be really crazy because it's Women's Day next Sunday.
Oh.
In Iceland.
Wow, and so Women's Day is a big holiday in Iceland?
I guess so. I want a Women's Day here.
Right? How about everybody else?
Okay, so they're all still chiming in here, but okay, let's see. We have Nikki, Denise, Janet, Beatrice, Dippy,
Hi.
Renee, Tabitha, Robin, Teacher Michelle's with us, Kathleen, Kim, Sharon, Lisa, Sue, Maria, Tammy, Drake, Roxy, Elisa, and Cindy. I don't know if I should spoil the news, but she just passed her advanced and
Yes,
is now
she
FDI
did.
certified.
And I just printed your certificates, and Leanne just signed them. So here's how you're gonna soak these. You're just gonna pop them in the water and let them sink. Take about 2 seconds. Bad teacher, bad florist, not having her foam soaked beforehand.
It's a perfect learning opportunity. I figured you planned that.
I know, I thought that was gonna be like a tip. They don't need to water these.
No.
This is a bonus education.
Oh, okay, look, so Christina says International Women's Day is March 8th.
Oh, very cool.
So mark that on your calendar, Parker.
That's a big one in the world, and the United States is behind. So I think Parker, all by itself, should save the day and really.
There you go.
Save it for everyone.
Oh, they're starting to sink and soak up that water. All right, so I'll go ahead. While that one finishes soaking, I will put this onto my arch here. I'm going to get my zip ties out and just run it like so. Sometimes, I wish I had a third hand or a fourth hand. Sometimes I use my knee when I'm out on site by myself.
So you've had to actually do an arch piece by yourself?
Yep.
Oh. Wow.
So I learned the tricks of the trade. I use my teeth, I use my knee, all kinds of ways to be able to get this done.
So Mary had her first Valentine's Day doing her floral business.
Awesome, congratulations. How was it? How'd you do? Did you have to fare the ice and snow, or were you in a warmer climate?
And it looks like Tracy also had a lot of fabulous Valentine's Day. A lot of our tulips are getting prepared for the International Women's Day.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, so my next piece I'm going to put on this way. I might have to use an extra hand up here. Leanne, will you give me a hand? Put your hand on camera.
Got
Thank
it.
you.
There you go.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, got it. Okay, cool. So Marmac is with us live today, and it's going to be one of her last Wednesdays because she's starting to take a class on social media marketing that will be going on while we're live. So she'll be watching us on replay.
We'll miss you, but you'll have to definitely catch us on the replay. And then I just go ahead and I snip out the ends of my zip ties, make it all clean. All right. So I am going to start. I'm going to start with some huck. This is my absolute favorite foliage for getting depth and dimension in arch pieces. Let me pull this off to the side. side here.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
And maybe Leanne. I don't know if you're gonna. Roxy says, since you like working with foam a lot, have you ever tried Agra wool alternative?
I have not.
It's a new product that is a substitute for floral foam. I personally have not tried it yet. I just started studying it and researching it. So I'd be curious, have anybody in the tribe, have you actually touched the Agra wool yet? Or are you like me, still reading about it and learning?
Is it like a fabric?
It's like a compressed.
Interesting. Okay. Now I'm obviously working on a smaller scale here. So if I was working on a larger scale, I would probably take a full entire piece and put that in. And I'm not afraid to come straight out because that's going to give you depth and dimension rather than working flat.
Can I have a question?
Yes.
What would you recommend if, for example, the venue has something you need to attach to that's really fragile, or they're really worried about you damaging or marring? Samantha was asking about candelabras at a venue.
I've used zip ties
Okay.
for candelabras. The zip ties are nice and smooth and there's no wire involved. That's probably your best bet. If you have something heavy, you could use chenille stems, pipe cleaners. That's something that is a possibility. That's something you would definitely want to ask the venue if you can do. But usually zip ties are a good option. It's a great question.
Vicki wants to know the name of that foliage.
This is huckleberry.
So Carolyn, I've noticed a lot lately, arch pieces are very asymmetrical in form.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
Good question. I think it's the style. I think, asymmetrical tends to be a little bit more contemporary. Symmetrical is a little more formal, and more weddings now are more on the contemporary, less formal side.
That asymmetrical touch looks so good when they're doing Zoom weddings now and they're wanting to be able to have a frame. It keeps it out of their face and everything.
Carolyn, Nicole wants to know the zip ties. Can you put them like directly through the foam instead of going around the cage?
Yes, you absolutely can. And that's a process that I use, a technique that I use as well. Sometimes it's just easier going around the cage, but yes, definitely you can go through it. Especially if you are making, pre-making something, and say somebody's going to install their own side pieces or something, I'll run the zip ties through the cage and then design everything, and then they pick it up and then they can just attach it to the structure themselves.
Julie Spear is with us.
Hi, Julie.
Julie and I have been emailing today. She's working on a sympathy tribute that's going to be a painter's palette. And it sounds like it's going to be absolutely exquisite. I can't wait to see it complete.
I spoke with Julie on the phone today.
Oh, good.
All right, so I'm going to do a couple more pieces of huck in here, and I think I've got some good dimension going. I'm just coming straight out.
Carolyn, Sue wants to know, is one zip tie enough to hold the weight?
For these smaller ones, yes. If I'm using a tribute cage like that's this size, I'll use two, and then sometimes I'll daisy chain them together and then do one around the top of my arch, just so it doesn't fall down. So there's lots of different options. Sometimes, several zip ties are needed.
Leslie wants to know if that foliage holds up well without a water source.
It holds up extremely well. I would highly recommend it, to use without a water source. And next I'm going to come in with some Italian ruscus. This is so fabulous for getting a wonderful drapey line. And for filling in into the center here.
So Carolyn, Nikki wants to know if a bride wants her arch piece moved to the reception, how do you price that?
I would, if you as the designer are coming back and moving it, then I would put, a moving fee in, and that's usually $100 or so, somewhere around in there. But usually what will happen is they will assign it to somebody in the wedding party or, a friend of a friend, that kind of thing, so the wedding party can enjoy their time at the wedding, and then just instruct them, to cut the zip ties and move it. If it's a big piece, sometimes that's a challenge. Because big pieces are hard to move, so you might need to do double. But if you don't have to go back and move it or anything, I just price it the normal way. I just price it for the single piece, for the arch itself.
And shout out to Jennifer. She's going to be enrolling in the online basic course soon.
Yay!
Hi, Jennifer.
All right, how's that looking? Do I
It
have some good drape and everything going on?
Beautiful. Oh, gorgeous. That is just beautiful all by itself. I don't think you need any flowers.
Oh, sometimes I get done with laying all the groundwork with the foliage, and I step back and I'm like, dang, I don't want to add flowers. It's so pretty without. And I'm making a mess.
The lower cage on the inside, you're going to want a little bit of foliage.
Oh, right here, yes.
Yep. Because that's the side you can't see, but guess what was staring at us?
Right?
Doesn't she know her foam is showing?
We can't have our foam showing.
Joanne loves the granary.
So I'll come in here with some ruscus. Oh, here's my hook.
And Carolyn Lynn says, what did we ever do without zip ties? We go through them
Right.
in bulk.
Oh, I know.
Carolyn, would you mind mentioning the huckleberry? I'm having so many people ask what that is. Can you just say again what the very...
So far, the foliages that I've used, this one right here, this long, dark, this one right here is huckleberry, and then Italian ruscus.
The huckleberry grows here, so for us, it's almost a weed, and other places they covet our foliage.
And then now I'm going to use some Salal. This is great for coming in, adding another green, another size of foliage. It's also great foliage to use for coverage. So you come in, I would come in at the very end before I leave, after I've designed my arch piece, I would come in with Salal and cover up any foam that I might see.
What about the back? Do you have to cover the back?
No, typically you don't have to cover the back. I'll just come in with Salal and make sure that the cages the foam is nicely hidden. And a lot of times when we do arch pieces, the arch will be draped with fabric. So that will cover, I'll put the the foam cages over the fabric, and then the fabric kind of hides everything. So that's kind of nice. I'm peeking. I feel like I'm in a garden.
I know, you are just, this would be perfect for a photo op.
Oh, a photo booth.
Oh, yeah.
Could do a photo booth and / arch.
That's right.
Could you also use hops for this?
Oh, absolutely. That would be gorgeous. Nice and drapey and add a gorgeous texture. All right. Oh, I have a spot missing. Come back over on this side over here and add.
So I'm again having a couple people ask this. So with the back, the plastic part,
Yes.
that's okay that it's shown.
Yes, absolutely. The back can show. Nobody's gonna see the back of it because usually it's up front at the altar. It's the photographer's not gonna see it. I mean, no, you don't have to cover you don't have to cover the foam, the cage at all. You just want to make sure that the foam is all covered and everything's covered from the side. Angles that the photographer might shoot from, might shoot from this side. You want to make sure that that's all concealed, but having the back exposed is not a problem.
You might turn it so they can see the back because
Yeah.
it really looks finished. Even, it doesn't look bad. That way you guys can see the back side. It's not like it's a really naked, messy thing.
Yeah, so can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Oh, now I can see
And
that.
now you can see
Now I
the
can see.
back. But now you have to turn it back. I didn't mean the whole thing would stay backwards now.
Let me add a couple pieces here.
Carolyn, here's a great question for you.
Yes.
So Robin wants to know, how do you keep the fabric from getting all wet when you put a cage over the draped fabric and then design?
You don't.
She says she usually has to put towels down to catch the drips.
You can. Excuse me. You can put towels down to catch the drips. A lot of times what I'll do is take like the bottom half that's draping on the ground and kind of push that off to the side somewhere and put my drop cloth down to catch any drips. But up in here, I suppose you could, bring a towel up underneath. I haven't found that that's really necessary. I'll bring a towel just to wipe things down and make sure it's all clean and nice. But yeah, it's something that it's hard to avoid. All right.
Well, Lynn said she learned her lesson regarding the back when the photographer went around the back and shot the pictures from the backside.
Oh, no!
Interesting, okay. So now I'm gonna use some white stock. And this is just gonna kind of, I've set my line with my ruscus. And so now I'm just gonna come in and follow that with some stock. Excuse me, I need to turn this to the side a little bit so I can see. Come up to the top and get some extension coming out here. So what else is going on in everybody's flower world?
Let's see a couple more tulips I saw, Carolyn. I saw Ashley, Mac, Scott, Diane, Peter, and Donna. And Jennifer had an earlier question that maybe you had a tip, or maybe other viewers out there. She used Majolica spray roses over Valentine's Day, and they only lasted for 2 days. Any reason why? And in addition, it was 5 degrees where she was.
Majolica usually lasts a really long time. My only thought is it's Valentine's, and then sometimes the product does get held over for a longer period of time than it normally would on a normal day. So yeah, any tips, Leon?
I would say just spraying it down really well and holding it over, it should be fine. There's a whole bunch of people here loving the foliage, but I am privy here to Isabel. I'm liking her. I need to know where she lives because she has eucalyptus, skimmia, pieris, and viburnum in her garden.
Ooh.
Wow.
I know we need to go harvesting at her house.
Yes, we do. All right, so now I think I'm going to come in with a couple of these white Lysianthus just for some fun trailing and a really wonderful gardeny look.
Nancy Gomez wants to know how you know how much weight an arbor can hold.
Typically we use our own arbors, so we know exactly what they'll hold. We'll go into a facility that might have their own arbors and check them out before we actually assemble anything. And then we also bring a lot of cable and weights of our own so that we'll secure it from the back so it doesn't tip forward. So we use a lot of counterweight too to help things not fall over, because we do have some arches that are a little bit flimsier that we do need to put the weight on, and so we'll counter it with weights that might drop down the back, or airplane cable or fishing line that comes out the back, and we'll take tent stakes and stake those into the ground so it doesn't fall over. It's a great question.
Well, it looks like we're going to have a field trip because Isabel has invited us to come visit her in Aberdeen, Scotland.
Ooh,
Oh!
I'm game. Let's go.
FDI trip?
Yeah. Okay, so now I've got kind of a base going on here. I'm going to come in with some of these gorgeous shimmer roses.
So Carolyn, I noticed, so you placed the 2 cages separately, but this is starting to look all connected.
Right.
Oh.
Heidi is loving it. She's doing a venue open house this weekend, and she's going to be using this type of loose garden style. She's like, OMG!
So now just coming in with my roses. And if you notice, I'm not working flat. I'm coming straight in on this, into that center. I'm not afraid to, bring things out. And that's so important for giving that depth and dimension to your arch pieces.
So Carolyn, Dennis has a comment here that they had a wedding bring a different arch than was planned. It was broken, and they ended up not using it and put the pieces on the barrels, but the bride was okay with that.
Oh my goodness.
That can be a heart-stopping moment. I've had a few of those.
Getting lots of hearts over here on Facebook, Carolyn.
I can't see my phone. All right, maybe, I think I need another one over here. All right, how's this looking, guys?
Oh, the hearts are like flooding right now. They love it.
Look at these fabulous, isn't that hydrangea just absolutely stunning? It's so gorgeous. I wish I was working on a larger piece because I would definitely stick this, insert this in here. And, you know, maybe my laterals are long enough I can do that. But don't be afraid if your laterals on your hydrangea are long enough to use bits and pieces.
Are those the natural color?
It looks like it.
Wow.
This is the first time I've seen this color.
That blush is just exquisite.
Just adding this at the base. Look how pretty that is in the base of that. Come over here. That's going to give me some nice coverage.
Can you mention again, Carolyn, the
Yes.
name of that rose? Everyone keeps
It was
asking.
shimmer.
Shimmer.
I love it. I worked with it a lot over the Valentine weekend. We had some beautiful spring, when we weren't doing Valentine colors, we had some customers that wanted non-Valentine colors. So we were using the shimmer rose and some lavender. Oh, it was so pretty together. So now, oh my gosh, there's so much fun texture. Look at these gorgeous carnations. Carnations, I absolutely adore carnations. They come in so many gorgeous colors and varieties now. They're, bicolors, and they're not just all in the classic pink, white, and red anymore.
Samantha wants to know if quicksand roses would work with that color palette.
Ooh, absolutely. I love quicksand roses.
Joanne says you're warming her up because she's cold and it's freezing and it's awful and snowy and it looks like summertime.
Chad wants to know if you have any tips from keeping hydrangeas from wilting.
Really good hydration. Processing is going to be super important. Give them a good cut, a good dip in quick dip and alum, and hydrate them really well. And lots of crowning glory, especially if it's really hot and the bride insists on hydrangea. Let's see. Oh, look, I've got to add a couple of these in. Look at that. That's just going to make all kinds of, just make everything pop.
Ooh.
I love this color. It's burgundy.
So it looks like you're doing tints, tones, and shades.
I am. Tints, tones, and shades. And those of you in flower school, what know all about tints, tones, and shades?
So Janelle just shared with us, and I would love more detail in this, but Janelle says the hydration chamber technique works so well with hydrangeas. What does she mean by that?
The hydration chamber is the new trendy word for put it in a plastic bag and seal
Oh! I'm like, I haven't heard this fancy.
it. It's so funny because we've done it for 100 years where you put it in a plastic box or a plastic bag and seal it, and now we're calling them hydration chambers, which makes it sound classier.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna have to do a little surgery here because
while
my
you're working on
cage
that-
is falling.
While you're working on that, Melanie wanted to know how you got that to stand up, and I'll answer that. The legs are just shelf brackets. So shelf brackets are attached to the frame, then that makes it hold upright. So you can just get those at a hardware store.
So yeah, sometimes you have to do a little bit of surgery to get everything to stay where you want it. I think that's gonna do the trick for the moment. So how's this looking? I'm gonna do one last step to kind of soften everything. Does everything look good?
That is so beautiful.
Beautiful.
I love it. We love it.
Okay, YouTube, do you guys like it? If you do, go over and click the thumbs up underneath the screen and give her a little love.
I'm getting flooded with the hearts over here, Carolyn.
It's interesting because I'm designing onto the side and I'm designing backwards. My designing backwards skills are, increasing here.
We got awesome and love it and hearts and googly eyes and more hearts. Everybody's loving it.
So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in over the top with some of this gorgeous silver dollar eucalyptus and a little bit of this gunny euc. And this over the top just adds, it just takes it to the next level.
Carolyn, Ashley has a great question. She wants to know if you would put this together the day of the wedding, or would you ever complete the arrangement the day before if it's a morning wedding?
I usually would do this on site. So I go in with my buckets and attach it to the arbor and complete it there. If I would do it in-house if somebody were coming to pick it up and attaching it themselves. Or if I couldn't personally be on site, I might finish the majority of it and then have, one of my installers, put it up and then maybe add a couple little extra pieces to conceal things. But when I'm personally doing it, I'll do it right on site.
All right, Carolyn, you're gonna love this question. When you do a really big arch, how do you have to do it fast when you have to climb up and down the ladder?
You get skilled at moving up and down the ladder really fast. You take stuff up with you as much as you can. Sometimes you have more than one person on site with you, one standing down, handing you product. Usually, if we know it's a really large arch and we have a certain amount of time, we'll give ourselves 2 hours maybe to do an arch that takes a really long time. And a lot of times there's more than one of us doing it at this, designing it at the same time. Let's see. All right.
That does add a wonderful accent of the color and everything. It's wonderful.
I love eucalyptus so much. All right, I'm gonna move this over to the back behind me. grab that other end.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Oh my gosh, that is gorgeous. Oh man.
Got some filling in to do, but I'll take care of that before Marisa takes pictures of it. All right. Kind of a mess going here. Next, a bridal bouquet. All right, so the best thing to do is to start out with a wonderful foliage base. Do I want to do this in floral netting? Or do I want to do this not
You
in
get to
floral
choose.
netting?
Oh man, there's so many choices.
So many choices. I'll do it. I'll make a foliage base. No floral netting. No netting, no foam. I'm going to start with Salal. It's a great base to kind of add. It adds substance. It's a great way to, build an armature out of foliage. So who's excited for wedding season? I can't wait for wedding season. And I'm hoping 2021 is a much better year for wedding season.
I was reading that they are anticipating flowers to actually be larger budgets this year.
Awesome.
Because people are wanting to have it be fabulous for all the pictures, because so many people can't really join them. So what they'll see is the pictures and the video, and so they're doing more flowers, which is really kind of exciting.
Yay. We've kind of had that over this year as well, where we're doing more flowers, more personal flowers, rather than table centers and that type of thing, and doing some beautiful big arches and such. I'm going to come in with some eucalyptus.
The 2021 weddings, I think, are going to be a real strong seller for flora, because people need flowers right now.
Yes.
They need beauty.
Yes, we do. We do indeed. So what else is going on out in YouTube and Facebook?
Well, we had a lot of people get through the snow and had a really great Valentine's Day.
Yay.
Samantha's wanting to know if you have any tips for someone that's coming up on their first wedding season.
Breathe. Enjoy it. Don't overthink it. Just have a good time, with your consultations. Enjoy that time that you're spending with the bride and getting to know her. That's my advice. I think come in with a little bit of huck too.
Carolyn, Janelle is actually confirming Leanne's statistics here. Janelle did a wedding trends report last month. Couples are spending 29% on things they want, especially flowers and decor.
Nice.
So true. And it's interesting because they're spending less on the dresses because the affairs are more casual. And since there's fewer guests, there's fewer centerpieces, so they're spending money on flowers that are maybe fancier, more expensive than what they would have been able to do, because they can really splurge where it matters.
That's awesome. So now I'm adding some of my Italian ruscus just to get a little drape and add another texture in here. So if you'll notice, I'm building a really strong base of foliage. My base of foliage should look fantastic all by itself. I kind of like to think of my flowers as the icing. So if you've got a really beautiful foliage base, it makes it easier to put your flowers in. You won't struggle as much to get them to look how you want them to. Let's see. And I've got a little bit of this gorgeous gunny youth that I can pop in here. And I'm keeping everything in that central binding point. Who can tell me what a central binding point is? All of our Tulip Tribe, our basic floral design students.
Let's see who's the first one to answer.
I know, the big question. That has so much foliage, so many different varieties.
All that
It's so
texture,
grand.
so-
That's beautiful.
Just like the arbor, it's gorgeous before you even get the flowers in it. I'm really making a mess today.
Okay, I got the first person.
Okay.
Oh, let's give it to 3 people because they kind of all popped in at the same time. Okay, and these are all students of ours. So let's see. The top 3, we have Nikki, Elisa, and Cindy. The
Yay!
point, yes, and let's see. So we'll go with Nikki's answer. The point where the flowers radiate from.
Yep.
Good job.
Yay!
Yeah, we have a class that starts March 1st. We'll be teaching binding point on March 1st. I love it.
All right, now I'm gonna start adding my flowers in. I'm gonna start with some stock to the outside, and I'm just giving my bouquet a turn. I like to think, I like to turn my bouquet around. I like to make my bouquets all the way around rather than one-sided. So I'm always thinking of how everything looks from all the directions. Adding my shimmer roses in here because they're so gorgeous. And see, isn't that pretty? And see how easy it is to kind of get that shape and hold that shape when you have a really strong foliage base. You come in and add some of my carnations in here.
This is a question maybe for the tribe. Here in the Pacific Northwest, we use so much foliage, and I think of us as being sort of greenery people.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's international. So basically, do you use a lot of foliage in your wedding bouquets around the world or not? So a question
That's
for
a
the
great
tribe.
question, yeah.
Jennifer also asked, can it be only foliage and greens for a wedding bouquet?
Absolutely. I've done a few weddings that have been foliage only.
Nice.
Foliage and succulents. I've done a couple all succulent weddings. This is a white O'Hara rose.
Oh, that's so
Isn't that
lovely.
amazing? So I'm just going to pop these down in the center. If I can get that in. Kind of nestle it in there. Give that a turn. Isn't that gorgeous in there?
I have a really great question from Lynn. So if this was a real wedding, would you use the same flowers for the backdrop as the personal flowers?
I use very similar, yes. So Now the white O'Haras I would not use in the backdrop because they're probably more expensive. If they wanted to pay for those more expensive flowers in the backdrop, then yes, I would add those. But I'm doing, a very similar look in all the personals as well as what I've done back here. So if you've noticed, I'm popping in those carnations, the shimmer roses, the stock. The only thing that's different that I'm putting in here are the white O'Haras. And that's to make, kind of the bride stand out. If peonies were in season, peonies would be another great choice to add in over the top, not over the top, but in the bridal bouquet to make it extra special. Peonies would also look really beautiful in the arch.
So I have a couple answers here about the foliage.
Mm-hmm.
So Kim, who I'm pretty sure is here in the States, they get brides that either want a lot of foliage or none. And then it looks like England, they love foliage. And then Ireland, they use a lot as well. Nova Scotia, Canada, lots of greenery as well too.
So it isn't just the Pacific Northwest. I love it.
Yeah, someone mentioned they're great for people with allergies if they're allergic to pollen.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So I've added some spray roses in there. These spray roses, I think, were called.
Oh.
I had white. These are the
The peach chablis.
peach chablis.
Wow.
Oh, I like that name.
Let's see. Now I'm gonna add
Oh. I wondered where those had gone. I saw them yesterday and they were so beautiful and then they disappeared. I'm like, oh.
Look at that. Look at that.
What are those called?
Ranunculus.
Ranunculus.
Oh, this is just to die for. I could just look at this and drool all day.
Are ranunculus your favorite flower?
I think so. One of my favorite flowers.
I know they sure disappear when you're here.
I ask for them all the time. And I'm just gonna have these dance out over the top.
So Scott chimed in and said that he would just love a glass of peach chablis right now.
Ooh.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
It looks like everyone else is saying that ranunculus has also become their favorite flower as well.
Yep.
But aren't those pretty, just kind of dancing out over the top here? I think find a couple buds.
Do you find that it is necessary to add the little buds in along with the more bloomed out ones?
I add a few buds because they just add some fun character if the stems are long enough and they don't. Otherwise, I'll use them in, say, the boutonnieres or corsages.
Do ranunculus last very long?
They last a really long time. They are super long lasting.
Do those come in other colors or are they just white?
Oh, they come in, oh my gosh, they come in all kinds of gorgeous colors. Peach and burgundy and
Pink and purple.
pink and
red
purple.
and orange.
I mean, they come in all kinds of amazing colors.
And they look like they would be fragile because of those ruffly
They
petals.
do.
And they really are hardy. It's amazing.
It's amazing how long these last.
Carolyn, when you lived down in Southern California, did you ever get to see the ranunculus fields?
Oh.
Yeah, someone said in Carlsbad they have.
Oh, down in the car, yes,
Yeah,
in
down
Carlsbad,
Carlsbad.
yes,
They
yes.
are so beautiful.
Yes, they are.
Just
Now
like
I think
rainbows.
I'm going to take some.
There's another field trip. Oh my gosh, we need to get past COVID so we can go do all these things.
We need to do an FDI tour. We need to go on
Yes,
tour.
I do. Let's go. I've got my passport. I'll travel outside the country. And now I'm gonna add some Silver dollar just a little bit over the top just to continue that softness.
That is so delicate. With the big mass of foliage, it didn't seem like it could be possible, but it is.
And again, you know, the silver dollar just adds that extra touch and just softens everything. And so, there we go. Let's see.
They're loving the way the eucalyptus enhances that bouquet.
Excuse me a minute.
Samantha was asking if you think dried or fresh flowers are going to be bigger this season.
Oh, drieds have come in super popular. I think, I'm not sure about in wedding work. You can incorporate drieds. In fact, I'll show you something too as soon as I get this taped off here, that you can incorporate into the arch to make it even more on trend.
As you're finishing up, people are starting to having to dash to their other things because they can't believe how quick the hour is gone. But they are loving this. So they are happy campers.
So I'm cutting this off at about a 2-hand length, maybe a little bit shorter. There we go.
Wow.
So, look what I found. Pampas grass and some of these dried palms. Pampas grass is so on trend right now, and look what would happen if I'm just gonna kind of lay this in here.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Look
Oh
at
my
that.
God. So there you go, Samantha, dried and fresh.
Where do you get the dried stuff from?
You can get it at your local wholesaler, craft store. You might even be able to order it online. Then, if you want another really trendy, these painted palms, just pop these in. Look at that. And that really picks up that peach and burgundy color. And then just adds another dimension to everything.
Oh, that is just fabulous.
I'll have to add some more pampas grass. I'm afraid to cut it, otherwise it's gonna fly all over the studio.
Vicky mentioned you can do some hairspray potentially.
Yes. Yes. Aquanet is like the cheap best hairspray to just cover this before you use them. Let me see if I can, got a couple minutes here. Get a couple pieces shorter and bring this in here.
Dennis is saying that he keeps getting brides coming in with pictures from Pinterest that have permanent botanicals and even wooden flowers.
I've done a few weddings with wooden flowers. We've done the wooden boutonnieres. They're pretty cool, actually. So yeah, there's all kinds of possibilities, and there's so many amazing things on trend right now with drieds and painted foliage. You could take fatsia leaves and paint them copper. Do all kinds of really cool stuff. All right.
So we'll get some great pictures of these, and I'll put them in the group, and then we'll, through the weekend, have them posted on the social media channels so they can find it on Facebook and Instagram and on Pinterest. So they'll get to see these photoed beautifully.
And I have little bits and pieces that I could incorporate into the bridal bouquet.
Ooh.
So now your bride's got, pieces of the pampas grass going on in her bouquet as well as in here. I didn't incorporate the burgundy carnations into the bride, but I would incorporate them into the bridesmaids. I would do something similar and maybe do a little bit of the burgundy in theirs. You could even incorporate some of these gorgeous palm fans into the bouquet as well and really make everything super on trend. Well, I can't believe it's 4 o'clock already.
Time flies.
Where did time
You're
go?
having fun with flowers.
It's been so much fun hanging out with you guys this afternoon. Drop any questions that you have on YouTube and Facebook, and I'll get in there and answer those for you. Otherwise, it's been such a pleasure having you join us today, and get out there and do something you love. Bye for now.